I made a tea and it kind of sucks. Is that about right there? Yeah. Right, I'm just going to taste test it again. It's not bad. Right, so in this one, I'm kicking the camera. There's a few things I want to cover. So, bad time of year for making videos. For me, I'm always poor in the last quarter of the year, if you know what I mean. Have to pay some tax. I have regos, I have birthdays, I have rates, all sorts of stuff. And it's a poor time, so content generally gets a little bit scarce this time of year. Mainly because, to combat that, I've made a couple of live feeds, and some guys didn't like it, but I kind of thought it was fun. Rosie and I just got there and started mucking around. Good way of interacting. I was watching one guy, American guy, doing a podcast with some other guy in a helmet. That was pretty interesting. I couldn't hear the guy in the helmet, but it's all good. Right. So in this one, there's a few things. I want to tie up some loose ends. Yeah. So I never did a last video on the Starlet or the XL250. The XL engine's here, and I need to find out what the noise is. Got a sort of reinvigorated sense of enthusiasm with it. So it's time now. I've had a break from it. It's time now to get back into that and find out what it is. I'm tipping it's a bent rod. I'm pretty sure it's got a mouthful of water sometime in the past. If it's not that, I'm at a loss, but I'm not putting it back together until I know unequivocally what it is. So I'll show you that. The Starlet just went in. I've driven it through the winter, the autumn and winter, and the clutch was right in the end of its wick. So I got Dave to put a clutch in, and he put a new thrust bearing, machined the flywheel, some drive shaft seals, which he did before. But we've done them again because he's taken them out and put them in, and got new drive shafts, so it's clicking around U-turns. When you're doing U-turns, it's sort of clicking away, the CV joint. So he's done that. That car's now, it's perfect. I should get another couple of 100,000 Ks out of that. It's a great beater, great for the shopping centre, great for work. It's just great for the takeaway food. It's really, really good. Even though I get laughed at in it, I couldn't care less. So, this one has a lot on the CB350 frame. Now, I did a video and I pulled it. It was on Dave's welder, which he gave me, and set it up on my old classroom stool stand, so to speak, and then did a whole lot of dumb things with it, like standing in a puddle while I started welding or turning it on. That's a no-no. I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew it was wrong, and I released it. And then I thought, you know what? Sometimes people have said in the past with comments on the videos I do that they've gained a lot of tips and that sort of thing from it, and inspiration. And that's not inspirational. It's not a tip you want to share with anyone. I might just cut that last bit off and re-release it. I did a few things. It's gas welding. I was outside. You're not supposed to weld outside with gas welders because the wind can just blow the argon away when you're welding. I knew about that. I knew what I was doing, but I just wasn't doing a very good job. I was very tired that day and made some mistakes. So I pulled that. I've admitted my mistakes to you. So I think I might just cull that in bit, then re-release it. So there's that. What else? I made a mistake with the CB350 wheel. I'll show you that. It's a very minor mistake to correct, but I still made a boo-boo, so I'll show you that. And what else is there? There's just a whole lot of loose ends, you know what I mean? So I thought I'd spend a little bit of time talking about those, or showing you those, and where we're up to with the projects. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, let's have a good look at this cut, frame cut we've got for the CB350, and the best way we can approach this. Because at the moment I'm not terribly sure. This one we've got has been cut all over the place. There's a magpie there, which is annoying. We are going to leave on the frame the two main rails and the gussets for the shock mounts. And we're going to leave that as well. We're going to take everything else off. Now, a good mate of mine, Clive Ryan, he's been riding a bike, I think since 1970 or something. He's been riding for years. He actually rode a 354 with his then girlfriend on the back interstate. I think he rode this from Melbourne to Sydney or something with it. Now, I don't want to touch these bits. The easiest way to do it is probably to cut along here. Same on the back, and we've got a steel cradle here. And then sort of cut there or whatever, and put a bit of tube inside. And then, you know what, I don't want to do that because I don't want to touch the original triangulated part. Probably doesn't matter, but you know what. So what we're going to do instead is I'm going to cut up here, then along there, and then these two tail pieces for the rear guards are going to stay with that bridge, and I can place them. and I'll mock the card up. Now, on the inside, there's a few things that are all missing. This is that's the electrical panel cradle, if you like. There's a bunch of bits in here that need to be taken out of here. And in fact, that is a piece that extends onto the backbone, and it's been cut there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut along here, cut along there, and add this piece in by welding it along here and to there as well. The rest of these bits, these are side cover mounts. There's a bit of rust there. They are just welded on the back with a very small tack on the inside. I think that one has one, I can't see it from here. But what we need to do, the seat brackets are just sort of folded. They're welded along here and along the inside there. So we're just going to have to place these on the seat frame. Take a measurement. It looks like it's level with the back of this here. So I'll place the back one, put the tank on to make sure everything's good before I clamp it and weld it. And of course you've got your seat lock, and I'll put that on last. Depending on how the hinge goes and where the lock falls, that'll determine where that goes. The rest of it's just little electrical tabs like that. That's no big deal. There's another one there. I think that's what that is, I'm not sure. But it's the only way I can come across, or come up with, that I think is going to be beneficial, because I don't want to cut the rest of it up. Anyway, let's have a look at the frame. Right, so although I don't think some of this was done particularly well, it is good. It's got a good side to it, because I can see where some of the pieces were cut out from. Here and here, for the electrical panel and battery cradle. This is tricky, and that's why I have to add this piece. There's a piece that sort of comes down here and adds to there, and it sort of slopes down, if you know what I mean. I have to do it that way. That was my boot, by the way, because I'm not unstitching all that. I don't think I've got that piece anyway. I think the piece I've got goes here. They've ground off where the seat brackets were, and I'm worried that that might be too thin. I'm hoping it's not. I'm going to cut my nails. They're too long. So that's a concern. So I think what I might do is take this paint off. I'm just going to stick a blob of weld there just to make sure it's nice and thick and it doesn't blow through. Because if it does, if there's any doubt at all, I'm just going to have to cut it the other way before I start dicing up the other one. The piece along here, we've got the option of taking all this off, but I'm not. I'm going to weld across here, there, and then to the frame there. And the rest of it, the tabs and stuff, are pretty self-explanatory. I want to leave this piece. Another reason I want to leave this piece on is at the level where the seat hinge was, and that's where the original part of the welding was for the seat hinge there, and the other one's sort of up here somewhere. So I think the first thing we need to do is get rid of some of this paint, just to see what lies underneath. There's something there. Oh, that's where the bridge was. There's a bridge that sort of goes along for the rear guard. Anyway, let's get to work. Cleaning thinner to get this off, and it won't come off. I'm assuming it might be a satin 2-pack or something. So I'm just going to go along. There's a bit of rusty crap there. But they've sort of painted over rust. But it's going to tell me exactly what's underneath. So I'm just going to go around and clean off the parts I need to see underneath. And I'll turn this thing back on in a moment. Right, I've started cutting this stuff out. I've cut the other one out from the other frame. It's this bit here. And I can't get the angle grinder in. You can see I've nicked it there, but it doesn't matter. I've left a little bit of material on the tube, so I've been cutting into the weld. As you get close to here, you can't run a large disc, obviously, because you're going to start hitting into the frame member. So, where are my goggles? I've dropped my other. So, what I've been doing is using this little Dremel, which is chewing up discs. But it's the only way I can get in the edge into here without nicking the frame. Oh, see, it just turns to dust. See it come off, but at the end of the day, if I let it cool a bit, it might be alright. Oh, let's just have to just leave it. He's left that shiny. So I'm just going to have to weld that up. And the other bit that goes in is going to go in wrong way, like underneath there, like that. So that way I can tidy up that weld here with a flappy disc and give it a couple of tacks there. But that's the start of it, and I haven't cut that very evenly because it's been, oddly enough, fairly difficult to get to. I'm just going to clean this a bit more. Right, so I'm just tacking these bits in. Is that round? It might be oval. I don't know, I can't see from here, but just so I can mock up where the battery tray and everything goes. I might just stick another one over there. I haven't done that very well. And what I'm going to do yeah, I missed. What I'm going to do, it's rickety, is put the battery box in here. I can weld the tab onto the other side of it. And then I can put the seat brackets and all that sort of stuff on. I'll slowly sort of build the frame up to mock-up stage. I've done this bit down here, quite rough. But I'm spotting it together with this old welder, which will free up the new frame once I've stripped everything off it, and then I'll stitch it all up with the new one. I've just got to experiment first with the with some of that other stuff. What do you call it? With the new one, so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to continue this, and we'll be back. I'm standing on it. And there's the underside of it. Not brilliant, but the powder coating will sort of tidy that up, and I've also put that piece down there as well. So I'll get the battery box and see how that looks. Rightio, so I'm just sort of, I tacked that up like an idiot, so I have to take it off. I've got to make sure these are central. So I put the grommets back in here, and there's a bracket that goes on this side as well. So that one, once I've figured that out, so that's perfect, so I can probably tack there. Then I'll redo this bit, get that sitting all level and properly, which is why it's slopey on a milk crate, and I'm on an inclination, which is really dumb, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Alright, have faith in me. So, yeah, I think I'll go get the grommets, bang them in, stick a couple of bolts in there. That's going to determine this side here as well, where I put that tab. Rightio, so I've got these grommets back in. That was what I meant in the other video where I said I did something stupid. I took the grommets out. They're pretty average, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to make sure we put these little centers in to make sure it's all going to sit where it's meant to sit. By centering it. By centering it. I can't say the word properly. I'll just stick a couple of 6mm in there. Here's another one with a washer. Doesn't matter if these are odd. All they've got to do is just make sure everything's centered. And then, once I get this tab on this side, the other ones, the proper ones for this are all bagged and sort of sitting in the thing, in a box. So this is all going to sit a bit funny. Yep. And now I'm going to bolt the tab onto this side and sit it where I need it. I might have to finesse that a bit. It doesn't quite look right, but I don't think it matters at the moment. Once I've done that, I can sort of just tack here and here, set up the sort of angle on it, and see how we go. But the important part about this, and what's really crucial about this thing, is once that's all sitting the way it should be, that will determine where the side covers sit, because the lower mount for the side cover's down here, and same on the other side, and we need to get that all right. So once the side covers are fitted, the brackets for the side covers are fitted, then I can sort of work on the seat. Rightio, so we've got this sitting where we need to be. I've got that tab sitting there with the vices on it. So I can just go around and tack it up. And hopefully everything stays where I want it to. Hang on, I'm running out of lead. Let's start here. Just a few tacks. Sweet. This bit's a pain in the neck. I had to put all this stuff back, as well as the rubbers and everything, so I can sort of tack it. But this is really important to get this bit right now. There's a side cover here. goes in like that, and it's got these hangers. Now these hangers, I've cut off the other frame of these little guys here, and they've got these rubber feet, or pads if you like, that sort of go in and hook around under there to hold the side cover where it's meant to be. And so I want to make sure they're right. So that's spot on there. Thankfully these rubbers, I've got 3, I haven't got 4, but that's holding in the side cover, which is a good thing. And I made a little mark where I thought this was meant to go, and it's spot on actually. Hang on, I might bend that. Why isn't that sitting right? So it's got to be something like that. And to be quite honest, it makes me a bit nervous, because if you get this wrong, the bike's going to look stupid. So I'm tipping, if I make it level with the other one, I'm not sure. If I look down it and make it level, that's quite easy. I think it is. I think it's like right there, like that. That's how I'm fairly sure that's how it is. I just want to have a look on the other frame part. So I've got a donor piece here. I've already cut a lot of stuff off. And just by putting that over there and centering it, I can see the gap, which I did on the other side too. And I'm in about 1/8 of an inch too far, but I think that's all right. I think it's going to be fine. The more important bit is that I've got it right this way, and it's straight. So I think what we'll do now is we'll take these ones off, mount them. This one will come off at the bridge. Can you see it at the back? Yes, you can. Just stick it on the back, but I need a couple of bits of pipe to centre that, to make sure it's straight, because that really is important. Some of these little bits here, if we get them a bit wrong, it doesn't matter. It's not important. Right, so I've got to try and get this on here, and it's got to be straight. Now I've made these on a lathe at work, very, very quickly, very roughly. There's 2 of them. Slide in the back here. Now there's double skinned in there, and it's from Honda. You can't actually take that piece out on the inner side, but you could out of here, like a locating thing. And the idea of that is to keep these straight. Now it's not going all the way in. I'm not sure why. I've just got a bit of a look, and the other side is almost there, but just not quite. So I need that all the way in. I don't know what it's hitting. Maybe I didn't cut it straight, but I'll take it off and have a look. Right, so I've got those adapters inserted. Right, so now we've got it where we want it. So we can weld it all up, which is cool. I'm happy with that. This stuff's been really tricky. This seat bracket, you can see it's a bit messy, but stuck there pretty well. Got to clean up a little countersink there. But what it did have, it had a sort of a folded up part that sort of came up here, and it was impossible to clean this stuff up, as well as the old welds from Honda. I've just got a bit of 3mm plate, and I'll weld that in, and that'll give it the strength it needs. It's probably actually a bit thicker, but I think that'll do fine if I don't keep dropping it. So I think we'll strap him down to the crate again. It'll just hold it down there for now. So we'll put this on. There's a couple of little pivots that go between here. Hopefully I haven't smashed this around too much and bent stuff. There we go. Beautiful, that's absolutely great. You can see we're right on. There's a bit of movement in the hinges anyway. But if I look along that tank rubber, that looks pretty good. The thing that worries me though, is the tab that comes up here. I thought it was for wiring loom, and it's actually a helmet lock. It sort of pokes up through this bit here. So here it is. That, which I've just dropped. And the way it goes is it's stuck on the side here, and as you lock the seat down, it means you can't unloop the helmet strap. So that's got to go sort of quite high on the frame, sort of there-ish, just so the padding in the seat is absorbed. It can potentially poke through here when that's down, if you know what I mean. So I've got to weld that on, and I think there's a loom clip, and that is about it. That actually turned out to be a nice cut. Right, CB354. You can see here it's got everything I wanted to have on it. The side covers, which go on the little air cleaner housing, electrical panel housing. Got the rear guard, the seat that's lined up properly with the seat. Just got to finesse some of these welds. They're not great, but they're certainly penetrated well. That comes down, that lines up with the seat and the fuel tank. The rear guard, everything with the rear guard lines up. Again, just got to clean up some of this, but you get the picture. So, I'm reasonably happy with that. I think what we'll do is, when we get round to it, when we get a bit more financial, I think we will strip it all down, get the frame done, and put it back together. At least, that's the plan. There's a little crack of this thing. Hang on a sec. We'll open it up. I haven't cleaned it, haven't done anything with it. And I still need a steering wheel, but I haven't really looked for one. Now, this car, I actually bought the last 4 Toyota Life stickers, which everyone laughed at me, because they're the most effeminate part of the whole car. And you can see they've put cutouts on for where to situate them. That, and also on the back. Here, so where does that go? Around the door lock, around the boot lock. So I stuck those on. It's a real little chick car, but it is such a little cracker. Now, Dave has replaced some parts. So aside from the brakes all being brand new, oh, look at this. A dent and a scratch. That's from a horse at a horse riding school in Warrandyte. I pulled up next to the fence. Ah, Susie. Hello, Susie. Wave to Susie. Say hi, Susie. She's got a leg injury. Yeah, the horse grabbed the mirror. And it's an electric mirror, and they're very hard to get to on these cars, or very hard to buy on these cars. Wreckers will never have them. But this woman just shirked all responsibility. She wouldn't... I didn't expect her to pay for this, but I would have liked $100 or so. Because you spend, I think it's $700 a term, and Rosa's been here for about 6 years. So I spent a lot of money there, and all I wanted was like $100 or $200 off the fees. But she just kept ignoring emails, so she's a dog. So if you have a kid that wants to go horse riding there, I will tell you who it is, because I think you should avoid it. This is cold, so it's sort of on fast idle, but it runs like a little train. I absolutely love this little car. And, you know, that's pretty much it for this one. That was Dave's side of the bargain, so I still have to finish his XL. I just don't know why more people don't drive cars like this. They're so cheap to buy and so easy to fix. So reliable and fuel efficient too. So you can see it's dirty, but it's still so much nicer than it was when we got it. And of course this car was made from lots of different Starlets. Got our shopping bags. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you. And check out this beautiful CB750 front wheel. It's all been trued up and everything, and the spokes have been done. I laced this. These are nice, almost like the original Swage spokes, and we sort of polished up bits and pieces. A bit of pitting there, but I don't think that matters at all. Now the mistake is they rang me to verify which side the speedo drive was, and I got it wrong. So I got them to change around the direction because it's a directional tyre. And I've got to get them to change it again because I made a mistake. So our disc goes there. Sorry. And speedometer drive is on that side. And you can see that's on the right. No, it goes this way. So the bike is going to roll down the road this way. Where's the direction thing? Which is contrary to what that rotation thing there is. So I screwed up. Got everything to put that bike back together at the front end. Just need to get to the hydro blaster, as we keep mentioning, to get these bits cleaned up. I just want them done. I don't want to paint it in there. I just want to get them done so I can polish it up and make it look good. What I might do, I should say, is delace these two 350 wheels, and take the hubs to be blasted as well. It's going to be too hard trying to get all that black paint out of here. And the guy that did it did use pretty good primers and etchers and all that sort of stuff, so that's going to be horrendous. I'm going to get them blasted out too, those two hubs, because we can reuse these spokes, and we've got the rims here as well. In this container here, and it's all sort of starting to deform, is the front master. You can't really see it in there, soaking in a petrol/oil mix for the 750 Honda. So I've got a dilemma with that, because it's got a built-in micro switch for the front brake, and it uses a continuous line from the lever down to the caliper, or from the master down to the caliper, rather than a brake in it like the 350 does and the older 750s do, with the switch mounted in that sort of junction. So I might retrofit it with one of those if that doesn't release. So it remains to be seen with that. Now, this XL engine I've had apart a couple of times and failed because of a noise in it. Now, to curb that, I checked the compression height of the new piston. We put a new piston in and honed the bore. And to combat it, which was only really ever a band-aid, I made a 1mm thick copper spacer. So that's going to have lost a lot of compression. This thing was underpowered, and a lot of that was the gearing as well, because I put a very small rear sprocket on it. Now, I'm not anticipating a lot of effort with that, but I am anticipating quite a lot of thought. So we need to get to the bottom of that. It's the sort of thing where you fix something up, well, you try to fix something up, and if it doesn't work, it's disconcerting. If you have another go at it, it still doesn't work, you kind of really lose your mojo with it. So we need to make sure this is right. Not only me, but also Dave. He's not enjoyed it. It's been basically garage art, that bike. So it was never finished. So I think we need to look at that. Not sure how I'm going to go about filming it. I will film the fault when I find it. But the disassembly of it, all the disassembly on the XL 250 is in a separate playlist, so very obtainable to anyone that wants to see it. But I will just do a small section on the when we discover what the issue is, and of course when we start it and it runs well, we'll film that as well. And of course when he registers it and shoots off down the road, we'll get some footage of that. But we need to have a success with this. I'm quite lucky with the successes I've had, but this one was it didn't work the way we wanted it to. So that's coming as well. CB350 rear wheel I haven't delaced, I haven't done anything about. And I also haven't ordered the rim. So it will be up on its front end and center stand, but it won't have that rear wheel. I've got to get some brake linings for it, a chain and sprockets, and something else. Yeah, the hoop. Plus truing it and getting it tight. So it's a bit of work, a bit of expense with getting that thing back on the bike. But again, it's coming reasonably soon. Now another project I've got is under here, and it's car engine. Hang on a sec, let me get some stuff out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Dusty. I actually want to pull it out and have a look because I haven't looked at it for a while, and I just want to make sure it's all good. Now this is a 351 engine, another one. Now I've built quite a few car engines in my time, but on this channel since 2012 we've only really been done a couple of them, a Windsor in the XW and a Clevo in the XC. This is another one I've got. Now I did a while ago, can I bring that out? Right, I did, that's a bit old. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I did the Junkyard 302, and it turned out the block had a few little cracks and stuff like that in it. This one was another block I got through Speedworks in Ringwood. But the main draw card with this thing is it's already been bored. It was a virgin block and we bought it 20,000s. I just need to unwrap it and have a good look at what we've got. Hang on, I'll move it down a bit so you can see what I'm talking about. And oops, I'm just going to give that a slice. I just want to stick some CRC in there. Hang on a sec. Oh. This is pretty blunt. Right, so what the story with this was, there's an original bore. I'll just put that camera off. It's original bore, and I was going to use the 302, the junkyard 302. Now this was for the XD. Now the XD's had, I built a 429 for it and didn't use it. I ended up selling it off. Is this going to focus? This looks out of focus. That's a bit better. Now we're in surface. Now we're in focus. So yeah, it's been done 20,000. Now this has already been done to a set of new pistons, which I've got in that box there. I'll show you those in a moment. Now that XD, I did build the 429 for, and then consequently decided not to use it. I just wanted to keep it standard. But the engine is a little bit tired, so I'm just going to give them a bit of a spray. And the reality is that CRC has a way of evaporating off, but I just want to make sure that it's all, we look at it from time to time and just make sure it's all good. Around here as well, and I'll hit it from the other side on the decks. Now I've got the crank, I've got most of the parts for it. I don't have the rods though. I've got to get a set of rods for it and give it a bit more of a squirt up in there just to make sure it's all good. There we go, a bit in the front, and we can sort of put him away again. So all it needs now is its finish hone. So I'll give that a bit of a squirt over, so we'll put that back to bed. Just before we do, you'll see behind, there's our 302 heads from the junkyard 302 build. I'm not sure if they're any good or not. If they're not, we'll chuck them. I prefer to use open chain because that's what these had, but we'll suck and see with that. So it's been bored to this set of pistons. This is all identical to the XC. They're the Hyper-Eutectics we've got, and this has all been bored to the engine. So yeah, just the finishing hone's all we need. Yeah, there we go. So that's been bored to that. And of course they're all ready to go. So I'm pretty happy with that. I just haven't done anything with it at the moment. So of course there's the Plymouth and the XC, which I talk about every now and then as well. So it's always plenty to do. The trouble is the cost of all this stuff. It winds up being prohibitively expensive when you start building, you know, collectible cars and stuff like that. You do see 351s advertised quite a lot. A lot of them are sitting on 40,000s and 60,000s. As far as I'm concerned, that's sort of, that block's gone, you know. But to find an original baller is a real treat. This is date correct for the XD. Well, it's a little bit out, I suppose. It's a, I can't remember. No, it's a 1980. I don't think it's 79. The car's 79. This is 1980. So, you know, that's another thing we've got to do. And as long as it's sort of kept in good nick under there, that's all good. I'm not worried about it. There, the armrest for the XC. So that stuff can stay there, and we'll pull that out when we're ready for it. So I guess in the meantime we'll do some 350 wheel offset measurements. And this floppy piece of gel isn't really going to cut it that well, but we've got 4mm. But at least then I'll get an idea. Oops. And then let us pull the bastards apart, just like the other one. Yep, same. So it's neutral. Some of these nipples are dirty. They've got overspray on them, which is a bit surprising. I thought the rims would have been painted first. So we'll go and, as we get these blasted, and reuse these spokes, reuse the hubs, and put the new rims on, get them treated, put new tyres on. The tyres looked good on it, but they weren't terribly good. They were sort of cracking under duress when they were being moved on the rim, when the tyre level went under. Just the same as the 750, we look now, before I take too much more off, you'll see the inner spokes are all facing anti-clockwise. The outer ones are all facing clockwise, and they are different on the in the inner part. There's only 36 on this. The 750 had 40. There's a strong possibility that a lot of people see this and just think, why are you bothering? But I've got to do this stuff I can afford to, and I just wanted the bike looking stock. And the other thing is, I'm not going to be able to afford to do this stuff later on. You know, I mean, if we end up moving house or, you know, retire or whatever, I'm not ready to retire yet, but I'm not going to have any money for doing this sort of thing. And how long people will donate funds and all this sort of stuff. So, I mean, I'm just doing it while I can. And that's just basically it. So, I wouldn't mind doing it cheap, like a trashy build, like that little GSX, doing something sort of cheaper with that. But, well, time will tell, you know, we'll just see what we're able to do and what we're not able to do. And take it from there, you know. But I've been very lucky, been very fortunate with all this stuff, being able to do this. So while I can, why not? I'll do the rattle can stuff when I'm older. But I don't want the bike to look good, you know. These little 350s are quite significant to me anyway. Hang on, I'm having trouble getting this one out. What's going on with you? Oh, there you are. There's another one. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? Right, naked CB350 wheels. As I mentioned, did I mention before? I don't even know if I mentioned. There's a couple of differences here. All the rear spokes and all the front spokes are the same length. Well, the fronts are the same inner and outer, and the rears are the same inner and outer, if you know what I mean. They're different lengths from each other. There's the two different types, inner, outer, right? I think. I know there's two different types. Hubs are naked. Got to punch these bearings out. I've sort of sorted that one a bit, but might put new ones in. They do feel pretty good though. Overspray. A lot of them have overspray on the edge or on the edge of the nipple and also up the shank. Bit of dirty old thinner. And it just wipes off. Can you see, or am I just completely obstructing your view? So then what we'll do is just, that's a beautiful clean one now. So what we'll do is just dunk them all in garage thinner. I call it garage thinner because they just clean stuff with it. They can just sit there for a couple of minutes and they'll come out clean as that. So that's really cool. So we can reuse those spokes, I'm fine with that. They just have to look right, that's all. And they do, so they're good. They're like the ones I got from CB350 supply that they're swaged. There's still a bit of overspray there, I can feel it. It's not quite smooth, whereas down there it's nice and smooth. But whatever the case, that's that job done. Now, one of the things I was disappointed about are these shocks. They've been painted black here, and that's quite difficult to get off. The shock condition itself is really, really good. You can see they're actually in impeccable condition, and I don't want to get new ones. Now, they seem to operate well. We can compress this end and get those collets out there and remove that sleeve to get the paint off. I quite often refer to crappy garage thinner in this, and I've taken the fork leg extensions and just got them sitting in a bit of the old crappy garage thinner, and it's been sitting in there for a little bit, and of course that all comes off. It'll literally just wipe off. So what we can do with that is buff them up, and we should end up with a nice sort of looking unit. Now that's not too bad. They've been a little bit hacked there. I might have to try and straighten that a bit, but on the whole they're actually pretty good. I can reuse those. A little bit of polish and I think we're good. Look at this one here. Now that thinner's absolutely spent now, but there's a bit of muck still on there. I'll just let them sit down again. But this isn't, you use a wire brush or something, you really scratch it up. There's a few scratches in there, but I reckon that'll buff. I reckon that'll be alright. But sourcing parts of this for a 354 can be quite dear. So let's put them face down like that. In a couple of minutes they'll be ready to clean up again. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Take good care of yourselves. Enjoy your classic. I'll see you around.